Hi, how y'all doing? It is Wednesday, the 3rd of December, 2025. It is, yeah, Wednesday. Yep. Here in Ontario, Canada, the sky's cloud covered, white and gray. A bit of wind, threatening to snow. Looks misty, right? It does. And you know what comes with the mist, what I've been talking about, right? They're killing parasites. So yeah, Schuman's 10 today. It was 13 yesterday. Um, I've been feeling okay the last couple of days, right? Pretty good. Uh, just the same old stuff, just not intense. So I went to the chiropractor yesterday because I was out of my pain spray, right? It's natural ingredients in it, except for the alcohol. And so I went there to get that. So I figured, I'd get a tune up while I was at it, see how, if anything's out, right? So he got a couple of adjustments into me. The rest of it, where the pain is, or the ickiness is, the tightness in my shoulders and neck, he couldn't move it, right? Couldn't budge it. Or my right hip. So, yeah, I guess it wasn't time. But while I was there and he was talking to me, right, I asked him if he knew who invented Santa. And he did. He said, wasn't it Coca-Cola? And I said, yeah, right. I said, because they weren't selling in the winter, so they had, was a marketing to boost them so people would buy it in the winter, right? So I was surprised he knew that, right? Because his office was decorated for Christmas, right? And then as he's working on me, whatever, I don't know where it came from, but he was like, "Where do you come from again?" I said, "From here." And he's like, "Your mother?" I said, "From here." "Your father?" I said, "From here." Right? We were born here. And he's like, "Didn't you tell me you came from somewhere else?" And I was like, I had to think about it. And he says, "You know, the color in you." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Madagascar," right? I said, "That's the part of the narrative my great-great-grandmother was told." And he's like, "Where did that come from?" Right? And I said, "Well, we're prisoners of war, right?" And the tribes, the melanated people that were from here. And I said, I told him about her father, my great-great-great-grandpa, right? Came up from the States because when he got back from London from visiting Queen Victoria, uh, he came back to racism. It wasn't there, right? Like that's when the immigrants and incubator babies were going full steam, right? And they were doing that narrative. And so when they came here, uh, my grandfather and his wife died mysteriously of some illness, right? After a few years after they started their farm, and they put their daughter had left their daughter to live in to go to a nunnery, to an orphanage and a nunnery. And I said, he goes, "Oh, that's where she got it from." I was like, "Yeah, because they were changing the narrative, right?" He says, "I see, I see. So you're from here." I said, "Yeah, as far as I know, right?" So I was surprised. I was like, he remembered, right? That I had told him that years ago, before when I was during my waking up, right? To realize that the black people that were here we're not slaves, right? We're organic. We're just prisoner of wars, and they changed everything. I told him about Albert Pike, and Rothschild saying, "Give me your children for the first 7 years, right? And I'll build a nation of workers, not thinkers." And he was like, "Yeah." He says, "That's not good." I was like, "No, right? But that's what we got now, a lot of stupid people." That's what he wanted. He goes, "Yeah, that's true." Right? So yeah, I had that conversation yesterday. I was like, cool. So I wonder if he knows who I am, right? I think he does, like, that way. And then I went to the grocery store, bought a few things. I came home. I just watched YouTube all day, right? Talked to my son because he's not working anymore, right? Just maybe one day a week. And he's been very philosophical with me the last couple of days, but that's who I am. That's what I taught them, right? And he's closer to my IQ than the rest of the children. So yeah, we've been having deep discussions, right? Philosophical discussions. Yesterday it was about gatekeepers, right? And I was saying how I was gatekept, by uh, being forced out of high school and having a no trespassing thing for life, right? They didn't want me there. They weren't smart enough to teach me, right? But the psychologist told them that in grade 6, that I was above my peers, right? I didn't have those peers. So, and the teachers weren't that smart, you know? Not a lot of them anyway. So yeah, it was a moral thing with me too, right? If you're not morally good, I can see it in you, and you can't teach me nothing because you're corrupt, right? So yeah, and then we were talking about his gatekeepers throughout his life and his childhood, right? Growing up, people that just won't let you succeed because they're not as smart or as good as you at certain things. So they do things to you to get you to stop or to make it impossible for you to achieve, right? And around here, we got a lot of those kind of people in the system because they all come from Freemason families, right? Very dysfunctional people. Egos, and like, you know what I mean? Like morally, mentally, emotionally kind of stuff. So, yeah, we discovered that, right? And then today we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff again. And it was like, I remembered something, right? A long time ago. I don't know if it's in my memory, like from like something I read, something I watched, or is it just a memory of a past life? Because I've had a few of those, right? And it was about, I believe, a mountain in Tibet. It was when the Chinese government was going around marking all the ascended masters, the Shaolin, all the martial art people, all the really spiritual people, right, in Asia. Because China's really over here, but just for that sake, you know what I mean? Um, they were whacking them all, just destroying the whole, what do you call them, schools, right? The temples that they had were schools, right? To teach you enlightened being, to teach you to be an enlightened being, and to get you up to 100% of your capabilities, your abilities of your body and your mind, right? So they were very strong, and they couldn't bring in their religion and shit with these ascended masters there, right? And so they whacked everybody they could, but the smartest, the wisest of the wise, they went up to a mountain, and I think it was Tibet, the top of the mountain, right, and had a community up there, another temple. It's like with a small town around it, right? And they knew that the government was coming to get them, right? They wanted to get off them, right? They were the last remaining masters, and these masters were so enlightened, so balanced, right? That's what the conversation started, was about balance. That's how it got me into the thought. Is when the soldiers came into the town, the masters became invisible beings of light, right? And watched the soldiers break everything up and search for them and everything, and watch them walk away. And then the masters had to decide, shall we become visible again, lower our vibration so that they can see us, or shall we stay high vibrational and just observe and watch, right? And I believe the end was they decided to stay invisible, light beings, and watch. They're still here. They observe. They don't interfere though, right? Because they're just gaining more knowledge. They've had the knowledge, all this stuff passed down for many centuries. From grandpa to grandpa to grandpa to grandpa back, you know what I mean? Or grandma, whatever. Right? So they never found them, you know? So I'm not sure if that's something I read, watched, or if it's a past life, right? Because I was telling him that my daughter says I'm balanced, right? Because I asked her a couple years ago. And he goes, yeah, he said, I have to argue with that. I was like, why? And he said, because true balance does what I just expressed. right? Becoming so enlightened that you've got that power. You know what I mean? You've transcended everything, all the challenges of the mind, body, and spirit, right? Because we're not the mind or the body. We are the spirit, eternal, right? So we know everything, and everything's in the ether. Nothing new, nothing new is out there. It's all old information, and it's in the ether. And if you meditate, you can get it, right? You just have to become more balanced. So he says that totally balanced would be like, what I just expressed about them turning into light beings. And I said, oh, so I am a balanced human. I'm just not a balanced light being, right? Because that would be the true attainment of balance. So I think I'm doing pretty damn good. You know what I mean? Considering. And if I turn into light, you won't be seeing me anymore because I'll just be observing, right? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know, right? I told you, yesterday the Schuman was at 13. Today it's at 10. Yesterday my ears were not ringing. Today they're ringing again, right? And the Schuman dropped. So yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff going on with the sun again, right? Full moon tomorrow. So that's that energy, emotional stuff, right? Working on your emotions. So yeah, my sister phoned me. She needed to ask me if she could borrow my truck today because she was getting gas with her car and her fan belt's going, right? It wasn't even moving. The wheels were spinning and the fan belt wasn't, but she hooked it up enough to get over here, park it, and I loaned her my truck until 5 o'clock, whatever. I wasn't planning to go out anyway. Just hopefully she's kind to him. He's getting old. You know what I mean? You gotta be nice to the elderly, to the older men and women, right? For sure. But he's an old truck. But like I told her, he's my independence, right? And she said, I'll be careful, I'll be careful. So we shall see, right? She's a little bit of a maniac, but I love my sister, and she was complaining about being broke and having to do these jobs so that she could have money, right? So, yeah, it's the second time I've loaned her my vehicle. Just reading. I wanted to make sure I covered everything. I also heard yesterday if you are getting a lot of earwax, right, more than normal, you find your ear having to clean your ears a lot, it's your pineal gland decalcifying. It makes perfect sense to me. I resonated with it. Just like it was about a couple weeks ago, I guess. I watched this video on YouTube, and it was a woman judge, a senior judge, right? And she was, I can't remember her name. It was a German name, maybe. And she made an announcement, a video announcing that she has taken down the corporation of America, the United States, right? Found all the fraud and everything, and has fixed it all. She goes, this is the time to celebrate, right? Because they're not in power anymore, right? They've all been getting arrested and stuff. There's been videos of judges getting arrested and stuff, right? Because they're all legal on the land. They work for the English part of it, not the American part of it. And because I live in North America, Canada, right? I think it's the whole continent, the whole country, North America, South America, right? They were the ones that broke us up from our money, right? More ways to steal money, our money, our trust, financial trusts that were left to us from our ancestors, right? So that was good news, right? I forgot to tell you about it. Just like there was a new newscaster. He said that the United States government is done. It's over, right? And that was about a month or two ago. I forgot to tell you about that too, right? I told you that they were back, but I made a mistake. It was only for a short period of time. And then after that time, that newscaster came on and said it was done. It was over. Right? So this is all good news. Because the rest of the world's just been sitting waiting for the Americans to clean up the mess. The deep state government, right? So that we can get this shit on the road. Sarah, the land back to the organic people, right? Love, the matriarch back in control, which is all about love, right? We find ways to do things with love, what's best for everybody. Cause no harm, tell no lies, and be good people, right? It's the nurturing of the female. This energy is coming back, has come back, because, and it's going to get stronger because of the rising consciousness, right? We're getting higher and higher in frequency, and we're bringing the love vibration back, the true love, not sex, love, right? The love of a mother, the love of a grandmother, the good ones, right? So, yeah, it was good news, it really was. I don't know why I didn't tell you this, right? I figured maybe you've seen it yourself, right? Why do I have to do all the work? Why do I have to do all the talking, you know? I appreciate the comments, right? I read every comment in my YouTube channel. I do. And I'm not really a type of person that can express herself in text. That's why I don't give you long replies or anything like that, right? Because words for me on paper or in the phone are meaningless. They have no emotion. The way I put out emotion is through my voice, right? Face to face, you know, kind of thing. So I really do appreciate your comments. I have the best viewers. I really do. Always positive comments. I know I ain't big channel, right? And only a few people like my videos and comment. And I appreciate it for you. Or you for it, I should say. Right? That's all groovy. Thank you. You know? So yeah. Seen a raven yesterday when I was out driving too. From my father's side. From the left side, right? But yeah, it was a pretty quiet day today. Well, not quiet, but calm. Right? My friend Tass came over, smoked a joint with me. And then my sister came over, talked to me while the truck was warming up. Right? My son's been talking to me since he rose. But now it's just quiet. So I thought I'd make a video because I didn't do one yesterday. I've just been doing me, right? That's all. It's being with my shadow, me and my best friend, right? I'm balanced, you know? So yeah. All right. What are we gonna say? Every day, we see the freedom more. Every day, we have more gratitude. And every day, we're happier. I love you all as a consciousness. Enjoy this night or day. Okay? Okay. Bye.